Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk, where we have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation. All right. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation about band, HBCU band culture, music education, and more. I am your host, Julian J. Luke, and the owner of the Passionist Network. Remember, if you want to check out or get any of our merchandise, go to www.realtalkthattalk.com and you can get any of our merchandise. Remember, you can get 30% off your total price. Just type in HBCU Band. Man, it has been an interesting week. A couple of things that we need to go ahead and scratch off the list before we get into today's topic. First and foremost, what I want to make sure I say is that Quan and Portia are still out there doing their things, taking care of their business. Portia has to get ready for the National Battle of the Bands that is happening on next Saturday. So because of that, we want to make sure that they get all the time that they need. And as far as Quan, I wanted to make sure that he took care of everything that he needs to take care of as he's starting the school year. This school year is off to a big start. And while we're talking about the school year starting off to a big start, a lot of things have been happening in the HBCU or marching band space. So let's get to that first and foremost. First of all, Grambling had their I guess you want to say reveal, if you want to say. I guess they had their reveal. And, I'm just going to be honest. It sounded like Grambling. Nothing really interesting to report. What I will say, though, is if anybody is an audio person, I feel like they had a high pass filter on some of their audio. For me personally, it just kind of was lacking a little bit of the low end. But once again, it was Grambling and it sounded like Grambling. So, hey, but they look good. They look good. The band looks good. They look like they got some numbers. So, I'm not going to take anything away from them. All right. Also, moving on, DCI season is over. And I will say that it was really difficult for me this year to actually pay attention to DCI. Why? Because I just had a lot of stuff going on. So today what I did was I sat back and I actually watched as many episodes or shows as I could from the finals. And we do want to say congratulations to the Blue Devils. This is the wrong group. Golly, they just messed this thing up. Hey, man, y'all got to make sure y'all take care of y'all stuff. There we go. Congratulations to the Blue Devils. They won the DCI championship with a score of 98.975. So congratulations.
Performing their 2023 program, The Cutouts.
I did not mean for them to actually run that music. My bad. Anyway, but congratulations to them, man, the Blue Devils, for their 2023 DCI championship. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this makes number 21 for the number of DCI championships they have won. Now, some people are pretty salty about it. But the way that I look at it is DCI to me, the Blue Devils to me, is the Southern University of DCI bands. Even if there is moments where you think they may not be that great, most people think they can do no wrong. But I'm gonna be honest, I watched the show. I'm sorry, I didn't see anything wrong with it. So People just gonna hate. Also, man, I'm also going to say this. Our good brother, oops, I didn't mean for that. Golly, this is happening too much. Anyway, our good brother, Ricardo Brown, he finished up his season, and I will say that the Mandarins did a great job. They finished sixth with 93.775 as their final score. They finished sixth place in DCI, and I will tell you, they have made some strides. I want to give a big shout out to our brother Rick and the whole staff at the Mandarins. They're doing a great job, and I know him and the rest of the group is looking to run it back next year, and hopefully they go a little further by breaking top 5 in the finals. But again, congratulations to him. Also, I do want to say congratulations, or excuse me, happy birthday to our good brother Eric Prince, who is also a consultant at the Mandarins, as well as a tech for the Blue Devils. So happy birthday to our good brother Eric Prince. And then another thing that we have going on is we have Tennessee State. Tennessee State just got finished doing their original merge. Now, I don't know the history of the merge. All right, so I'm not going to act like I do know. But what I do know is this. They call themselves, or they say they're the original merge. So, hey, I'm going to go with it. And with that being said, thank you to Showtime Web for putting it out there. I actually watched it. Didn't watch it from beginning to end, but I watched most of it. And what I will say about it is this. They sound like Tennessee State, and I'm not going to take anything away from them, especially when they started out in the when they actually merged together. One of the things that I did hear, and I mean, I guess it's because it's a kind of I guess you want to say freshman coming in. There is some clarity sounds that I really want to actually hit on, intonation, balance, and blend, things of that nature. Now, I'm not saying that Tennessee didn't work on it, but what I am going to say is that, you know, as incoming freshmen or newcomers, you probably are going to run into those things. So with that being said, I already know it's Tennessee. Throughout the year, they're going to take care of it. So that's not something that I'm going to actually worry about. But congratulations to them, especially for everybody who's working on their shows, getting their bands together. I think I saw something from Southern as well. I think KED let out a video, or the Southern University staff let out a video that I thought was pretty cool. So because of that, man, everybody's getting their stuff together, and I want to make sure that I try to give everybody their shine as much as possible, as much as we possibly can. And then finally, I want to tell you guys about something that happened to me. When we had our show on last week, we had our show on videographers, and what we were talking about, or what we talked about and what we brought up was we were talking about Tape Master and how he was the original GOAT, so on and so forth. By the way, thank you for everybody who came through last week. Phenomenal show, and I'm not going to take anything away from anybody on that. But as I was sitting down one day, I'm sitting at the job, and I'm doing my thing that I always do at the job, and I get a random message on Instagram. And I see the message and it says DJ. I was like, who the heck is DJ? And so when I picked up the phone, then all of a sudden it turned out to be the one and only DJ Arnold. If you don't know who DJ Arnold is, and to be quite honest, at the time, I didn't know who DJ Arnold was from a personal perspective, at least. But what I will say is this: he hit me to some information, and I was just floored by the information that he gave me, so much so that I told DJ, hey, I need you to come on the show and show or talk about your history, who you are, why you are who you are, your history. And I'm going to tell you this: the information that he gave me was interesting. I'll just let you in on this. One of the things that he did say to me is, hey, y'all talk about Tape Master. I'm the one who was there before Tape Master. I'm the Tape Master before Tape Master. So we are going to have on next week, DJ Arnold, we're going to have an interview with DJ the Video Master. If you guys don't even remember that much, if you watch the show or watch our show a lot, remember I talked to you guys about a YouTube page that had super dope old videos on it. That's him. All right. So he's going to come up and he's going to talk about all the history. We're going to ask him some questions. Again, Quan and Portia should be back on next week. So we're going to have a lot of questions for him. He's going to unload a lot of information. I've already talked to him. So be on the lookout for that show. You've got to be here on next week. I'm telling you, the stuff that he shared with me was just, it just blew me out of my mind. So you guys don't want to miss that. I'm gonna tell you, one of the things he told me was he does have a video of the Legion, an old video from the Legion. I think he said from the 70s. And I'm gonna be honest, it's not too many videos of the Legion that I've seen in the 70s. So because of that, for me, that was just amazing. All right. But anyway, once again, DJ Arnold on next week, DJ the Video Master will be live right here. I would say in the building. That comes from my old DJing days, but he'll be live right here on the show. All right. Let's go ahead and get to today's topic. Now, today's topic, to me, I felt that we need to have a conversation about as a trumpet player. As I told you all last week, the video of my section, the Dizziac section in the streets at Howard University has been circling, so much so a friend of mine actually sent it to me today and was like, hey, is this you in the background? And I was like, yo, yeah, it is me. And this is a person who marched for Tuskegee. She played mellophone for Tuskegee for a little while, but she has been kind of disconnected from band for many years. And she just happened to pull that video up. So I'm telling you, it's making its rounds. But because of that, it really made me think about the videos and the shows and things that I've been watching from the HBCU perspective, and how at one time the trumpet players was a hot commodity. Everybody wanted to play trumpet, and now you can barely hear them in anybody's section. I'm just saying, that's just me. Maybe I'm overdoing it. So what I decided to do is I decided to bring a panel of trumpet players along with myself in order to have this conversation. Now, there are going to be a lot of people on here, and we are talking trumpet, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There are some people that I know and I know personally, and there's some people that I have never met. So we're going to bring everybody inside of the panel. First person that we got up, my good brother, a former a colleague of mine who is now going on to do good and great things. We're going to bring him in. My good brother, Lemanuel. What's going on, brother? Smith, we can't hear you. Hold up. You're muted.
What's going on, Doc?
What's going on there, brother?
Can't call it, man.
Cool. All right, we're gonna keep bringing them in. All right, we got another one. My rookie brother. He got on my last nerves when we were rookies, man. But I'd do anything for this guy if he ever needed. Manuel Hernandez, aka Manny. What's going on, my brother?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I see you got. Hey, man, I didn't know he had a gamer chair back there. Oh man.
My wife's a gamer, so she's the one that does a lot of video games and stuff.
Yeah, that means she's super dope. All right, cool. All right, man. We're gonna keep bringing them in. Everybody who plays trumpet. So I've never met this person personally before, but he jumped at the opportunity to do it, and he said, "I guess I was a goat." I didn't know I was a goat. I just thought I was a regular guy. All right, but let's go ahead and bring him in. He goes by the name of Roach. What's going on, bro?
What's up with it, man?
How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. I had another legend. Oh, there he goes. He popped back in. This guy welcomed me into the Dizziac section as a freshman, as a screamer. I mean, there's a lot of people know this guy. I don't care where he comes from. They just know who this guy is. We called him Manton, but his real name is Anton. What's going on, brother? Smith, we can't hear you. Yeah, you might have to go back out and then go back in. All right, we're gonna give him a chance to get set, and then we actually have another person backstage. This guy backstage. I'm gonna tell you the story about this guy really quickly. So when I put the APB out that I needed some trumpet players, somebody actually tagged him to my post. And when they tagged him to my post, I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so we started rapping and stuff. And then I looked at his page and then he was like, yo, I looked at his page and I saw he had a little sash on and it said KK Side. I was like, yo, what's up, frat? So, we got to talking and rapping and then finding out he went to Southern and stuff like that. So, I found out he was Zeta New, so he knew some of my guys at Southern. And then all of a sudden I went back and I looked at his sash again and I saw A5A and I was like, oh, what's going on, Six? So we had another conversation about that and just talking about all of those things. And then found out that the person that one of the Crab brothers that he knew when I was back in high school, they was actually in Dallas together. And I was like, oh, you in Dallas too? Oh, shoot. So we were just catching up a whole bunch. But then the thing that really put the icing on the cake for me was the fact that I looked at him and I said, yo, he looks familiar. So I started going back through his page. And when I went through his page, I saw Actor on his page. And I was like, Actor? I don't remember him on no movies, though. And then after I saw that, then I was like, wait a minute. Was he the brother from College Hill? And sure enough, he is the brother from College Hill, brother Gabriel Langley. He's I don't know if he's on right now, but he is backstage, but he has his camera off, so I don't want to bring him on if his camera's off because he may be off doing something. So I want to respect him for that. But I'm gonna tell you this really quickly. I watched this brother when I was a freshman in college, and I aspired to be him because he was Psi and A5A in the band. And I was like, yo, that's super dope. That's what I wanted to be like. Oh, there you go. So let me go ahead and bring Anton in first. Boom, Anton. Speak for me, brother.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you in there. All right,
There we
cool.
go.
And we're gonna bring in brother Gabriel, man. So again, I looked up to this guy when I was a young dude. So I guess you could say he's one of the ones I aspire to. So let's go ahead and bring him in. What's going on, Gabriel? Oh no, I ain't got no audio on you. Yeah, I'm not seeing a audio input on your feed. So you may have to go out and go back in just like Anton did. And hopefully it'll lock back in for you. While he's getting that straight, I want to go ahead and get this thing started off, man. We got some quote unquote all-stars in here. Some guys that I've just known very well, some good musicians, some good trumpet players, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and kick this thing off right here. I'm gonna throw the question out there, and we're just gonna run. All right, so here it is. Is the art of trumpet playing dead? Is the art of trumpet playing dead? I'm gonna toss it out there. I'm gonna start from my right, and we're just gonna go around. Emmanuel, you got it first.
I wouldn't say necessarily dead overall. You got some pockets of trumpet players or trumpet sections out here, but you got to go get them college wise. But the current status of band, you've had a lot of baritones taking over. You got some fire trombone sections. You got some solid tuba sections. Percussion is always a thing, but as far as the art of having some solid trumpet players across the board, I would say it's gone down. I just don't say it's dead.
Okay, all right, Manny, what you got?
I got a couple of things actually. One, COVID. COVID happened and it hit a lot of musicians, and you've seen people trying to get back through it. And I mean, it affected music in every level, from elementary all the way up through college. So, a lot of musicians just stopped being musicians, or ones that had potential to do great things are just coming back into their own at this point. And it's taken years for a lot of programs and stuff to get back to where they were. So you just aren't seeing as many prominent trumpet players coming back due to COVID. And then another thing is, over the years, versatility in a lot of lower brass instruments has been more prominent with sectionals and things. Like, you start to see more tuba sections doing a lot of melodic stuff and things with range. You're starting to see a lot more trombones with versatility and baritones with versatility that you would normally mostly see with trumpet players, and a few low brass, but it's becoming more prominent in low brass sections. So you're losing some of the musicians that normally would go to trumpet for that kind of versatility playing into low brass sections. And it's kind of just expanding to different areas of band. So we're not necessarily losing musicians. We are, but as you said, losing some of the versatility that you're used to hearing in a lot more trumpet players.
Okay, all right, Roach, what you got?
To the original question, I wouldn't even say necessarily that the art of the trumpet is dead, but there are a multitude of factors that kind of contribute to the current status of the HBCU trumpet or the HBCU trumpet section. Uh, One, just to kind of reiterate what Manny said before me, you have a lot of versatility in lower brass sections and in different sections. So kind of the concept of how can I say it? The concept of how people are playing the horn, kind of interpreting the horn, the pyramid of sound kind of changes. Just to put it a little less professionally, everybody kind of thinks they're trumpets now. Everybody's trying to go in the stratosphere. People aren't cutting off. You know what I mean? So that kind of puts a strain on trumpets. Because me personally, I believe in that big band style, that kind of jazz style, where everybody cuts off and you got the slight trumpet hangover. So that kind of contributes to it. I also think there's kind of a lack of concept in trumpet sections. Everybody wants to scream. And of course, these problems were always persistent. But back then, you had people who kind of knew their limitations, and there were more of I'm trying to think of a way to put it. It was more of an emphasis put on the lower parts. So the meat of the horn was a lot more prevalent in past trumpet sections. So I just think just a combination of those are kind of responsible for what we see as HBCU trumpet sections now.
Okay, all right. Anton, what you got?
I don't think the art is gone as far as trumpet playing. Has it changed? Yes, like everyone knows it. Yes, it's changed. Is it where it was when we were in the band? No. That sections are not the same. Like Roach said, sections not cutting off and doing all that. Everybody want to be the man in the section. If people don't know their role, I feel like that's a big thing in sections now. Everybody want to be on top when everybody can't be on top, because without the top, everybody know it's without no bottom is no top. But to say that it's dead, no, it's not the same. I don't think it's not dead, but it's not completely gone. Does it have hope? Yes, because you have a lot of people who still good teachers out there. So they have something to rely on, but to say it's dead, no, I don't think so.
All right, Gabriel, I don't know if you caught the question, but if you didn't, is the art of trumpet playing dead? So what you got?
Audio.
Smith, we still don't got the audio. And I don't know what's going on. And I really, really wanted to hear what you had to say. Golly. Because I have another screen on here that has your audio, but your physical video screen does not show your audio. So it's like they're separated. I don't know why. Yeah, I still can't hear you, bro. Oh man, this sucks. This sucks. Let's see. We can figure this out. Give me 1 second. Let's figure this out. As we're trying to figure this out, though, I actually want to go back on something that you said. Everybody wants to scream, right? And I think Roach, you said that. Here's the thing. Let me ask you guys this. Did we make a mistake? And what I mean by that is, did we make a mistake by saying that the best players can only be on first, and that screaming is something that we should aspire to? Because think about it. When we came up as young people, as younger folk, the best player was the first player. So everybody aspired to be a first trumpet player, right? And then when you started adding the screaming to the mix, blah blah blah, everybody wanted to be a screamer. Now there were some people who were like, "Nah, I'm gonna lay back. I know my role. I'm gonna stay in that first, daddy." but a lot of people were either aspiring to be first or screamers. So did we make the mistake by making that the more prevalent thing as trumpet players?
Yes.
I would say honestly, it did. Oh, I'm sorry, he's talking.
I didn't
Roach.
know you were talking. Roach, yeah, you muted
Yeah,
yourself.
Roach. You're muted.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, my bad for cutting you off, man. But I just wanted to say from my era, because I think I'm a little younger than all y'all. I crowd 2010. So I know from my era, I can 100% say yes. That was a mistake that we did, especially when I went, well, even in high school, because I'm West Ridge. So in high school and college, we had small trumpet sections. You know what I mean? And even at TSU, we had 18 trumpets. So if you was good, if you could scream, you was playing first. So I'm just gonna get out the way, but I just wanted to go ahead and throw that out there so I can say yes.
All right, go ahead, Manny.
I want to say yes and no. So
Mm.
yes, screaming was vaulted as something that elite trumpet players could do, but back in our day we were always in multiple ensembles, and different types of ensembles called for different types of things. Like, we were in jazz band together, and nobody thought any less of me because I wasn't a screamer. I was a soloist, and you were a lead trumpet player, but nobody really thought anything less of any other parts. But I think that's just because of the type of ensemble experiences that we had. I think in marching band it was a different story, where people that could play in the upper register cleanly and clearly were vaulted as better players, whether they were technically proficient or not, just for that one capability. So, like I said, there's a yes and a no quality to it, but it just depends on what your ensemble experiences were. And you and I were lucky enough to have multiple ensemble experiences where that really wasn't the more prevalent thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I have a rebuttal for that, but I want to get everybody else's thoughts first. So yeah, anybody else?
I think.
agree. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I agree. In a lot of programs, I went to UAPB. Your quote unquote better players were definitely your first. But then again, how a lot of arrangers arrange for their particular bands, you got mellophones that make your second and third trumpets obsolete depending on where you are. So that plays a part into that as well.
All right, time.
That's spot on. Spot on. That's exactly what I was gonna say. That's spot. Now, are you? Where was the question guided towards marching band or just trumpets in general? Trumpet playing in general.
Very good question. Very good. And that was gonna be my rebuttal when it came to Manny. Matter of fact, Gabriel, I'm seeing your audio. Say something for me. Smiths. I see the audio on the joint, but now I still don't hear nothing. Oh my gosh. Oh man, this is not good. I don't know what it is. Because it literally is seeing your joint, but now I'm getting nothing from you. I would say do this one more time. I would say click out and click back in. Let's just try it one more time. I believe in the power of Christ, man. We're not gonna let this mess it up. So I believe that he's gonna get this thing working. But Manny, that was one of the things that I was gonna say to you, right? Like it's great to be able to have that concept of the fact that, and you use me and you as an example, or even me, you and Anton, as the fact that we were in different ensembles. So we had that respect for different positions and roles and parts that we play. But you got to be fair and realize that not everybody in the marching band is in other ensembles. And because of that, sometimes the perspective that they have is the only one that they're getting from that marching band perspective. So from that in itself, they only approach it as that mindset of, if I'm not first, then I'm not that important, unless your section makes you feel that way. Because you got to remember it, with us, we regarded the second and thirds as being just as equally as important as the first and the screamers. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's happening in every section.
You're right. I got nothing. You're absolutely you're right.
I mean, listen, Julie, we went to Norfolk, and we were in a section back in the early 2000s where things were different than they are now. You know what I mean? Excuse me. That pyramid, you know, it was serious to us. The balance of the section was serious to us. We didn't have 16 first, 25 first and 4 seconds and thirds. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have that. The balance was serious. And when it came to first trumpet playing, you were right. Everybody looked at the first because, they're the lead of the band, supposedly in my head. As a first trumpet player, that's like it. I contribute being the first trumpet player to being the leader of the band, the sound. Like I set the style, just like in the jazz band.
Jazz band.
So, I think I'll say certain bands. I'll go and say that certain bands that I hear today don't have the idea of trumpet playing. And what was the original question again? Hold on, let me go back.
Everybody, did we make a mistake by putting the emphasis on being the first or the screamer? That was the original question.
I think other people did.
Yeah, you like, look, I ain't trying to be in this hot seat. Don't make me do that. All right, here we go, man. Gabriel's back. Let's see it. Let's let everybody pray on it. All right, here we go. I'm gonna bring him in.
Man, I hope it works this time.
Yes!
There we go.
All right,
there we go.
We got it. Yeah, man. Hey, look, I would apologize, but I'm not the program. I don't know what it was with the program, man. So
either.
My bad. But
you're all good.
Before you, because I do want you to kind of chime in on the topic, but before you go, what I failed to do, and that's my bad. I did want to say I did want everybody to say where they came from and where they marched from. I know that I kind of introduced Manny and Anton and so on and so forth because I marched with them, but I still want them to be able to say where they came from and who they marched with. So let me quickly go around the room. Lemanuel, go ahead, bro.
I marched at UAPB. I was in the jazz ensemble, Wind Symphony as well, from 2008 2014.
All right, Manny, go ahead.
My name is Manuel Hernandez, and I graduated from Norfolk State University in 2019. But I did march with the Legion from 2002 through 2005, and I was in the jazz band, concert band, marching band, trumpet ensemble, any ensemble you can think of that had a trumpet, even French horn ensemble. But yeah, that's my time.
All right, Roach, go ahead.
All right, my name is Malcolm Roach. Crab, 2010, Texas Southern University. Played, of course, in the Ocean and Soul. Played in the Wind Ensemble as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I also took a hiatus, marched at Talladega for a semester in spring 2013. Shout out to Talladega, got to show them love. But Crab 2010, my last year marching was 2016 at Texas Southern.
All right. Anton
Landers from Detroit, Michigan. Went to Norfolk in 2001. Stopped marching in 2006. Wind ensemble, jazz band, trumpet ensemble, almost every ensemble you can play in as a trumpet player in Norfolk State. That's me. Oh, and I did play with the Army band. I'm retired Army, played in the Army band, like Manny, Drumline Live, a little bit of everything.
All right. And Gabriel.
Marched at Southern University from 2000 to 2003, section leader 2003, KK Side Spring 2003, and played in jazz band, wind ensemble, marching band, um, down in New Orleans, Super Six brass band, big band, part of the Baker City, and just tried to spread that trumpet love.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I tend to, and this is just a personal thing for me, that I appreciated about being at Norfolk was the fact that most of the time that was a standard. Like, just listening to Manny go through his, ensembles, and Anton, for us, and I'm not going to say that wasn't happening anywhere else. So please don't anybody say or think that, but I just know for us, that was the protocol. That was the standard. You had to do another ensemble. It just, you couldn't slide by. It didn't matter what it is, what your major was, you had to be in another ensemble, and multiple, whether you were doing marching band, jazz band, trumpet ensemble, it had to be multiple things, and I really do appreciate Norfolk for that. So again, I'm not saying that was not happening at UAPB or Southern, because I know Gabriel just gave his ensembles as well. So did want to just go ahead and say that. But anyway, man, but the other thing is, so we have people that are on multiple different areas of the spectrum, march different years. So that's one of the good things that I appreciated about having all of these people on, is just having different perspectives from different places and seeing if we all come to a common thought process. So Gabriel, I do want to get you in on one of these questions before we move on. So the first question was, do you feel like the art of trumpet playing is dead? And then well, I'll go ahead and the other question was, did we go wrong in making it seem or letting people know, or people within our section, or the people after us, feel as though the first part, or being the screamer, was the pinnacle, the thing that you need to strive for?
Let me say, for that first question, I think that kind of takes me back to the mindset when I was in high school. One of the things that I was taught was the trumpet is one of the hardest instruments to not only play, but also maintain your ability to play at a high level. And I think because of that, it does require our young students to come in with that understanding that they have to put forth that effort and the energy in order to be of high quality. And when it comes to the other instruments, not saying it doesn't take the same effort, the same energy, but in the HBCU realm, a lot of times those other instruments don't need they don't need that same dedication in order to be heard, to be seen, to be considered high quality. I think I heard someone talk about how, like, the mellophones or the baritones, their range and their ability to project is, their calling, versus the trumpet. A lot of times they get, the notion that you have to be a screamer. Well, it takes a lot of technique and skills to be a screamer, or to be able to have that range, and therefore a lot of the students that come in, they don't want to put in that effort, that time, and that energy if they don't have that natural gift to be that star player, or to be in those rankings, to be considered a screamer. They rather just move down to that horn where they can be loud, they can be a projector, and be recognized for that. And I think that's a lot of the conversations that we had at Southern. A lot of, when freshmen come in, in the trumpet section, we made it a point to let the second and third know, hey man, you are just as important as the screamers, because without that foundation of the second and third, the screamers can't do what they do. And so although the screamers may get the recognition, or you know, you get the point from the fifth quarter, somebody say, man, I seen you such and such, and it's a group effort, man. So I think a lot of times that may be what is really causing the idealism of the trumpet not to be glorified the way it used to be.
Well said. Well said. Good way to put a stamp on it. Manny, you about to say something?
Yeah, actually, just to kind of piggyback off what he said, I think some of the problem is a lot of people that play trumpet don't want to be second or thirds, but you don't have that same separation in baritone, tuba, mellophone. And so they know that if they play a different instrument, they're going to be playing the same things as everybody else. And it's harder to discern who's the best because you don't see it as visibly. Does that make sense? Now trombone has a lot of parts that are separated like that. But because it's a low range instrument, playing high is not as lauded, and playing low is still considered something that's, you know, players that can play really low on trombone are still considered really great players, where somebody playing bass trumpet, third trumpet, when you just look at it for real on a trumpet, because it's such a high instrument, they don't see it as you're good, even though you play at a low frequency.
They don't see the value.
Right. And yeah, that just literally came to me as you were talking about. I was like, yeah, I get that. That makes sense.
All right. Okay, we got to move on to the next topic, but before we do that, welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation about HBCU band culture, music education, and more. Man, y'all go ahead and smash these like daddy for these brothers on here. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for me. Do it for them. Do it for them. All right. Give them a thumbs up. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passengers Network and turn on notifications. This episode will be up on all your podcast networks. Just type in Talk That Talk, except for on Apple Podcasts, where you can type in Real Talk That Talk. Don't forget, you can go to www.realtalkthattalk.com and get any of our Talk That Talk merchandise. Remember, at the end of your bag, you can get 30% off your purchase. Just go and type in HBCUBand.com. Not .com. Just type in HBCU Band. My bad. I submitted that, but oh well. So going on, arranging. The conversation was talking about arranging. So here's one of the things that I noticed, and I think I was talking to Rick about this. I want to say maybe about a month or so ago. Have arrangers done away with 3-part harmony on trumpet because they can't be heard anymore?
Yes. I would say yes. It's more of a struggle to have a trumpet section playing 3 and trying to balance that out and be heard versus, I mean, when you're competing with 36 baritones, euphoniums, and 100 mellophones, you know what I'm saying? Of course I'm exaggerating, but to balance and compete with those type of sections, you need 100 trumpets and more. Like so to cut that out, I believe arrangers do say, hey, we only gonna give y'all 2 parts, and those 2 parts, you have the bottom, which is the second part, and they're gonna give that third part to, like Emmanuel said, to the mellophones or somebody else. And you have the first trumpets, and then you have your screamers, hopefully.
I got another perspective on that. And this is something that I was actually talking to one of my crowd brothers about a couple weeks ago. I think everybody here kind of mentioned that they're at least 10 years past, 10, 15 years past. And so when we were marching, a lot of the songs that were coming out were very instrumental. It was, had a musical element to it, whereas a lot of the stuff that's out now is more rap. There's not a lot of depth to it, and so now you find these arrangers trying to put depth into rap songs that are pretty bass heavy. And so the element of trying to add a 3-point harmony for a trumpet is a kind of a mute point because a lot of the songs don't have that much depth and therefore it's irrelevant. And I think it plays into, the fact that, what you said, you kind of got to pierce through that bass line or that heavy bass beat or these baritone-ish songs or rap songs in order for the trumpets to be heard. But there's not a lot of R&B stuff out there or just pop stuff that requires a lot of instrumentation to make that make those trumpets, relevant in those 3-point harmony situations.
Very true.
So let me ask this question against that then. So then what about those, and we're talking about newer arrangers. We're not talking about the older arrangers, the Paul Adams, the Carnell Knight, and so on and so forth. So what about when they're arranging these older R&B tunes, but you still hear unison or 2 parts?
Well, I would personally say being able to experience Cornell Knight and Lawrence Jackson, the one thing that I noticed from them is when they arranged a song, they never arranged a song identically from what they heard from the radio. They always added their own personal element to it. And I think, back in the day, we used to call it an arranger, a composer, or a transcriber. Which one were you? Did you just listen to a song and just write down what you heard, or did you put a creative spin on it? Did you add those elements? And case in point, Wyclef Jean Please Call 911 was an iconic song that Lawrence Jackson wrote, which created the whole industry, the era of the power chords.
Yeah,
like it wasn't even an ideal of any kind until he added that element, and it was a very simple song. But that one moment that he put into the song that didn't exist became the essence of that song. And I think that's what a lot of the maybe the newer arrangers that are coming in, they're so focused on making the song or playing the song towards the instrumentation that they have in front of them that they forget to put their creative spin on it, which will allow them to add those different elements that we've seen in the past. And that's kind of my thought on that.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I mean, having that power chord, that open fifth, man, is like really the big thing right now. But then here we go. Here goes a thing to piggyback off of that. Is half of the problem a lack of teaching? If I wrote, and this is just something I'm throwing out there. If I wrote a song with a 3-part harmony in trumpet, first of all, it's going to add a lot more depth in the sound. I think we can all agree on that, right? Mm-hmm. But if I don't know how to teach it, then I can't make that part speak, right? So is the problem, in you all's opinion, a lack of teaching?
I don't think it's a lack of teaching. I think it's a lack of opportunity to fail. Where everything is so much faster than it used to be that younger students don't get as many opportunities to fail because, one, there's so much more on their plate than even when we were in school. And so success has to happen immediately, and success in writing and success in playing, we've got so many kids and stuff that have opportunities to write now because of technology and how much better it is, and people are starting to be like, well, I want to write. Like, there are so many more compositions / arrangers than even when we were in school. Like, everybody can arrange now. And before, there were people that, like me, I didn't start arranging till I got to college. But because of technology and access to different types of tools, success has to happen faster because so many more people are doing it. And me as a school teacher, as a middle school band director, my kids know how to write music on I use a different technology program, and I teach that in my school. But when I was in middle school, I didn't so much as scribble a note on even when I was writing stuff on paper. I never had access to anything like that. Never did anything like that. So less access means less people having to do stuff like that or given the opportunity to do stuff. So there wasn't as much competition. You had more time to make mistakes. Now everybody can do it. Anybody, a lot more kids have access to it, which means that there's a lot less opportunity for you to have times to fail to kind of build that craft, and you have to be successful faster. Therefore, things are going to be simpler. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but to me, it just raises more questions, right? Because to
I
me,
understand. Yeah.
I mean, it's not even against what you're saying, but to me now it just sounds like we're limiting the students because of the we're limiting the students because of the rate in which they have to be prepared to be successful. And then the other half of that is, it seems to me, just based on your explanation, that we're also not giving them the availability to fail. One of the things that we pride ourselves on as being older people is the fact that the only way we got better was by failing. But now what you're saying, or what I interpreted from that, is the fact that we are afraid for them to fail. Does that make sense? Did I make sense in that?
Yeah. And yes, I agree. I do agree with that. Again, because our time to do stuff hasn't gotten any longer or shorter. It's still the same amount of time. Like, we still have the same amount of time to write things, same amount of time to be able to, like, the marching season hasn't changed. It's still the same length. But there are more people trying to get things played, which shortens the amount of time that you can have more people do stuff. And we go with success. So whoever's the most successful the fastest gets their opportunity. And sometimes that means you have to take away things and not be experimental, because that immediate success needs to happen in order for you to get yourself out there. You following me?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Any thoughts on that?
I also like to add something. Yeah, I also just like to add that kind of the way that society is now, I have to kind of take some blame off of the educators a little bit, because we live in a society where self accountability is a very, very touchy subject. Like, it's almost like something that you got to kind of tiptoe around now. Like, for example, we all played in an era where shaking the tree, man. Like, if something isn't sounding a certain way, or it's a certain part, or it's something that everybody, that something keeps happening where people keep messing up, man, we're gonna shake the tree. We're gonna go down the line. We're gonna kick you off the band hall. Y'all get embarrassed or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like, that self accountability, or I won't even say self accountability, but just holding people accountable. That's something I feel like educators don't really have access to. Because now I feel like if you shook the tree, you embarrassed a player, that could turn into, who knows? You know what I mean? They could act like everything's okay, go tell somebody. Now it's a lawsuit or a scandal or something like that. So I think that also kind of has something to do with, just like somebody said in the comment section, that the success level has been lowered. I mean, just the lack of accountability makes everything a lot more easier.
So it's the kids' fault.
I feel like it's a multitude. It's a multitude of things, man. I mean, it's no one correct answer. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's definitely a coagulation of different things, but I feel like that's a very important aspect that you have to consider, especially when Mr. Luke is asking directly about the educators. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I feel
Okay.
like that question was like, which came first, the egg or the chicken?
Speaking of, yeah. That's why I was like, well, hey, just blame the kids. It ain't our fault. Then we grown. They just blame the kids. Kids' fault. All right. I'm gonna shoot gears for a second, man. I know this is the question that a lot of people were probably thinking that we were gonna ask, and I need to go ahead and ask it now. Has screaming got out of hand?
Yes.
Who said yes? Was that Gabriel or was that Anton?
Both,
Okay.
I think.
That was me.
Okay. So
Both.
yeah.
Like,
All
yeah.
right. All right. Go ahead and explain. So I want to put this out here. As a screamer, I am not gonna give my opinion on either side yet. I just want to hear what y'all thought process is. But all right, go ahead, Anton.
It is completely out of hand. I think it's completely out of hand. So I'm gonna go back to when we were in the band. It was only select people that screamed, and if say you ain't not supposed to be doing it, yeah, you might have get your mouthpiece took. You know what I'm saying?
You was about to say some names.
I was. I had to stop.
and I was not real.
I was thinking in my head all the people I was thinking about, but don't worry about it. But go ahead.
Yeah, so,
I had to censor my answer too.
Hey, it's completely out of hand. I just feel like now, like I said earlier, everybody they don't know their role, and just let the people who are designated to do it. I mean, you might have a G, or you know what I'm saying, or you might can squeak an F, or your F might be solid, but the cutoffs and attacks and everybody just playing when they want to. That's why I say it's out of hand. I just feel like the control is all over the place. Intonation, it's so many aspects to just say yes, it's gotten out of hand.
All right, Gabriel, what's your thoughts?
I think he hit it right on the head, man. Like again, back when I was marching, everybody had their role. I had a solid G, but I rarely ever did the screams. I had my crowd brother who could hit that G and everything above it, and he can spank it across the field. Because of that, everything on that sheet, and I put as I could in the first range, so sit back and leave his chops as warm as possible. Scream as often as he needed to with crystal clear clarity. And I think that's what made screaming such a art back in the day, was the ability to hear somebody hit those notes with a purpose, not like I slid into it or.
Oh, what happened? Man, he was preaching. Dang it.
He was breaking up on my end. Did y'all hear?
A little bit, but I didn't hear it like
A little bit.
a whole bunch.
Okay.
God dang it. Well, before I put my 2 cents into it, anybody else screaming gotten out of hand?
So I was gonna say no, but then after listening to Anton, yes, because all the inaccuracies, or a lot of the inaccuracies that you hear now, makes it seem like just because you have some little bit of an ability to play high, that automatically means that you're going to be a screamer. And that's just not true. Like, you have to have control of your range, you have to have power of your range, and you have to have, there's a lot of things that get into being an actual screamer. I can play a high F sharp now, and you guys, both of you know that wasn't my MO. I still to this day do not consider myself a lead player. I just have a little bit of range, but that does not make me a lead player, because a lead player has more than just the ability to have a note. There's a lot of things that go into being a screamer or a lead player that people kind of forget. And so when you hear inaccuracies in games and stuff like that, you start to think, oh, it's not that hard. I just got to be able to play high. And it's gotten to the point now where everybody is just thinking, well, if I've got a little bit of range with none of the technique, I'm a screamer. And so originally I was going to say no, but the way you explained it, yes, I agree wholeheartedly with you guys.
So I'm gonna drop some thoughts in here, and y'all tell me what y'all think. So me coming up, so I didn't know nothing about screaming before I got to high school. When I got to high school, I was looking at my best friend, Christopher Baldwin, and Jason, and my guy Jason Lamar, who Chris ended up going to Texas Southern. Jason ended up going to Alcorn. But though that's where I got the thought process for screaming, and I worked on it. Like sophomore year, I worked on it. Junior year, I worked on it. By my senior year, I was there. I was like, all right, I got this. But this is what that meant for me. What that meant for me is I wasn't squeaking, meaning I was pissing out the sound and anybody could barely hear me. I was articulating my notes, which means that if in any passage that you give me, I can articulate exactly what's on the paper and still be in the altissimo register. And I could attack and release with the band. So when I got to Norfolk, and Rick says this all the time, I don't look at it this way, but Rick says it. And Anton, I don't know if you can agree with this or not, but Rick always says that when he got there and he heard me scream, he said that was one of the most impressive freshmen that he ever seen. Now, for me, I was just doing what I felt like my job was. That's what he said. Look, don't look at me. You call Rick and you take it up with him. I'm just telling you that's what he said.
No. I'm not. Listen, I agree with Rick. I hadn't seen no freshman. I mean, first of all, you was the first freshman class that came in after I did.
Facts.
But to have somebody next to me who was doing tongue and triple E's, like, come on, man. And it's like, that was very impressive. So please, I like the humbleness, I do. But a lot of people wasn't tongue and triple E's when you came to Norfolk. But Rick wasn't playing nothing over a double C.
But see, these are things that I was unaware of. I thought that that's what it meant to be a screamer. So anybody who was screaming, in my perception, that's what it took to be a screamer. And so now when I listen to screamers, people are sliding in the notes. They're super flat. They're not even trying to play within the context of the music. They're just shooting for a note, praying that they hit something that sounds close to it. They're screaming literally on like the third. I don't even know why that happens. Why would you scream the third? That's just odd to me. And the release is terrible. They're holding over 2 to 3. So in my opinion, absolutely the screaming is out of hand, because it's not approached as a musician or even just a trumpet player trying to just get to another register of the instrument. It's almost approached as I'm trying to be Superman, which was one of the things that I never, my personal self, and then going to Norfolk, we never wanted to be. We never wanted to try to be that super savior screamer person. We just wanted to add a little juice on the top. That was it. But go ahead, Roach. My bad.
All right, there we go. You get me?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I think I'm good. All right, now I just wanted to add to what you said. When you said that people are screaming in third, that also made me think about the fact that these last notes have gotten way out of hand. Like, not even just from the trumpets, but just all the way down. Like, where are the concert F punch notes? Or, the concert G punch notes? Or even if, the band playing the same last note. You know what I mean? Slapping it, getting off of it. That gave our era and y'all era a different type of sound, because, like, with B tones playing the fifth and F horns playing the seventh. You know what I mean? You got a trumpet playing the one, then another trumpet screaming the three. Like it just creates all kind of distortion. So that also is something that I feel like needs to be addressed, and that's something that I feel like the Rangers need to get back to. Everybody ending on the same note, and cut the note off. These half note and dotted half note, last notes. Hey man, stop it.
Just put an end to it. Just stop it. Why do we hang over? That is a why do we hang over? That go to anybody. Why do we hang over?
I'm going to say what somebody told me. I learned about hanging over in high school, and the person who told me went to Jackson. He was like, you get a half a second. That's it. Like you get once the band cut off, you get a half a second after that because it came from like big band. That's what I learned, and I've stuck with that. I could have been teaching it wrong, but that's what I've taught. Passing that along to other people. You know what I'm saying? You get a half a second. Anything over that, if you need to hold over longer than a half a second, then you ain't playing it loud enough. You need to go push it some more. So I think that's why, to be heard as first trumpet players, put that little extra pop on the end.
So I don't disagree with that. That was what I was taught. Just give a little bit more. I will put it in another context, but we'll say that for an after hour conversation.
It's cool as a trumpet player who's heard it. It's just, to me, it's cool to hear that it's like the icing on the top. It's a statement. Like, yes, we are the flashy part of the band. Like, this is what we've been called the prima donnas for a reason. We got to make a statement. That's kind of what it felt like to me. Somebody said I blame the Blue Devils.
It's the Blue Devils' fault, man.
Right.
But the thing about it, as far as the hangover is concerned, I as a band director, being at PV and being at different high schools and so on and so forth, and I guess the thing for me is there a conversation being had between director and student to say, hey, this is not okay?
It should be.
It should be.
It was taught to us. If we did it too long, it was taught to us.
Facts. But again, and I think that kind of goes and plays into, I think the conversation or the things that Manny and Roach were saying is this just the time? Is this the era and the time of I'm just gonna hang over for a whole half note, and directors are cool with it? And I think the other half of that is, truth be told, a lot of directors are band heads. Now in the past episode, and I want to clarify this, in the past episode that I've had, there was a clarification of the difference between a band head and just a dude who just like band. I just think that there are two versions of band heads. I think there's the band heads who are music educators and or truly believe in the art of music, and then there are band heads who just love marching band. But regardless, some band directors are band heads, and what I mean by that is some of them like that half hangover stuff. They think it's cool. So I don't know, but what I do know, as a trumpet player, as a screamer, I just think that when people be like, and again, Ton, I am very, very humble on stuff. Like I don't like to brag on nothing. I just be like, all right, cool. Justin from Smash Time comes in all the time, and he'd be like, "Man, you was a dizzy." Da, 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 da. I was like, "Yeah, okay. I mean, I was a dizzy. All right." cool. That was a part of my life, and it's over. But that's just who I am. But even in that, being a screamer, there still has to be an art to it. There still has to be some sense of or semblance of you wanting to be just a general trumpet player in the upper register. Not, I'm just trying to skeet. Well, I was about to say skeet on everybody, but I mean it's the truth. If we're gonna be trumpet players in here, let's just talk like trumpet players. I mean, that's how we talk. Y'all already know what it is. Let's be real. That's what the idea is. You're not trying to actually make love to the music. You just trying to go in for broke, raw dog and a skeet on everything. And that's just not cool. You have got to have some tact about what you're doing. All right. Let's move on. I'm looking at Gabriel like, come on. Let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, man. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, unconcealed. I was unfiltered, uncomfortable conversation about band, HBCU band culture, music education, and more. Go ahead and smash that like daddy if you're in the room. If you're watching on playback, it don't matter. You can smash that like daddy whenever you want. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passion Is Network. This episode will be up on all your podcast networks. Just type in Talk That Talk, except for on Apple Podcasts, where you can type in Real Talk That Talk. Here we go. Here's the question of the night. Whose trumpet section was better? Whose trumpet section? You knew this was coming up now. Come on now. You knew you cannot get a room of a bunch of trumpet players and say whose and can't talk about whose section was better. All right. Now, as I'm gonna be non-biased in this room, and I'm gonna start out by saying this. All right. I'm gonna start the conversation this way. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a part of Trump Funk. I did. And I don't mind saying that. I did. Until I saw the Dizzies. 2000 recruitment video when Rick was playing the solo for Matador and he hit an A flat instead of an A natural. It's okay. It's all right. All right. Then they came back again with the 2001 the 2001 joint, and I said, hey, that's where I need to be. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not saying who's the best. There we go. That was what I was gonna put out. Who got the best section? Whose trumpet section was the better section? Lemanuel, what you got?
I cannot confirm or deny. I am not biased. Don't put me in that one.
Oh man, come on now. Come on. If you had a trumpet, if this was about 10, 15 years ago and you had a trumpet in your hand, you wouldn't be saying that now, would you?
I can speak for me.
All right, there we go.
But now I ain't gonna sit here and be like, yeah, UAPB had the best trumpet section of all time. I know good and well I'd be lying. We've had some solid times, but nope, don't put me in there. Don't put me in there.
All right, Manny, are you gonna man up, Manny, and say who you think?
Why you gotta say that though?
Because I just wanted to go with Manny. It just worked. It did. I'm sorry. There we go.
Fair
All
enough.
right, we'll go for it. Who had the better trumpet section?
It depends on when you're talking about. If you're talking about recently, I think my favorite trumpet section is probably A&T trumpet section. They have one of the thickest sounds I've heard in recent trumpet sections. If you're talking about what, that's my opinion. If you're talking about back when we were playing, I'm absolutely gonna say Dizzy X. Right. I played in the 2003 section. I played in that 2004 section. I played with that 2005 section. Like those sections were great. And I don't know. I lost a lot of time in the 2010 coming up to 2016-ish era, so I didn't see a lot of sections during those times. So my opinion is based on after 2017 and before 2010. So Recently, I'd say, like I said, A&T is probably one of my favorite trumpet sections. But back then, absolutely Norfolk State.
All right. Roach, what you got?
So, I mean, I'm a realist. You know what I mean? Just like my boy Emmanuel said, man. So, me personally, when I was at TSU, we were small. We had 18 trumpets. You know what I mean? So I feel like we were definitely a solid representation of what you can do with being undermanned. And we did some pretty good things. For example, go look at 2011 Jackson State, 18 trumpets versus 54. Let the tape do the talking. So we weren't goaded or anything like that, but we were on our way to doing some very special things. Unfortunately, some events happened in 2012 that kind of prevented it from happening. So, we never got to our full potential. Now, as far as historically, the Dizzy section that y'all were in, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, y'all was just different, bro. Like y'all was different. You know what I'm saying? And watching y'all again, like 2006, 2007, seeing those clips of y'all from 2002 and stuff like that completely changed the whole concept of what I saw as a trumpet player. So, that section kind of like 2002 Norfolk. I say like sections like 2005 Southern. That's another one. 2006 Texas Southern. I mean, but these trumpet sections also had, the numbers, and you got to have numbers to do the things that y'all did. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say that's an excuse or anything like that, but y'all was just on.
Smits, he froze right there. Golly. But I think he was saying ending on we were on a different level. Anton, what's your thoughts?
I mean, non-biased.
Why everybody
like
got
you
to before they say
because you gotta throw that, you gotta throw the disclaimer in there. So in high school, I went to Cass Tech. Gabriel, you might know my line brother, Ken James, who went to Southern.
Yeah, I know him.
He always wanted to go to Southern, but I wanted to go. I just put that out there because Spring 03, whatever. But I wanted to go to Jackson. I wanted to be Trump Funk too. I mean, because we didn't have any trumpet players that came from Southern come back, and nobody from our high school actually went to Southern that played trumpet. So, but I ain't gonna lie, Southern was always on the radar. Southern was always there. Like 2005, 99. They had some great years, but to say the best, I really can't say the best. But if y'all put any section I marched with at Norfolk, I can say we can compete with anybody. I don't care who, whatever year. We had screamers, we had balance, we had style, we had attacks and releases, and we had like 30 plus every year. So I'm not gonna say no best. I really can't give a best. But any section that I marched in, we could compete. We could stand there and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, them boys raw. They bringing it." So, but I heard Southern 2005 at the Bayou Classic, but that was in Reliance Stadium. It's a little different. Shout out to Junior.
The situation was different. It wasn't the band. It was just the situation.
Yeah, but
Anton was about to fight.
I was about to fight.
Yeah, you was about to fight when we went to the party.
Club.
Yeah.
The club. Yeah.
Yeah,
food.
yeah.
That word food.
Food, yeah. And so in the city, fool is not a bad term in the city of Houston. So we were at the club, we were going into the Alpha party, and we were all at the door, and one of the alphas at the door was like, "Hey man, hold on, fool, you all right? You good? Just hold on, fool." And Anton was like, "Fool!" I was like, "Dog, hey, chill. It ain't what you think, man. It ain't what you think."
Yeah, you did.
So Tom was ready to pop off. All
That was
right,
a hot hit. Yeah.
Gabriel, man, best section. What you got?
Ah, man. Man, I came up in Southern where we only competed against ourselves. And I'm not saying that against anybody else, but I'm just simply saying that every day that we walked in that room, it was a battle at beating ourselves, man. And we operated on a David versus Goliath mentality. Just like that opportunity we had to sit across the field from Florida A&M, and they had 400 players, and we had like 180. Everybody thought we was going to get smashed that year, but we made it a point to prove that it didn't matter what size you were. Southern Band was going to match you and beat you. And everybody that was in that stand that day made sure that they gave everything they had. Like you said earlier, not to use the terms that we use, but give it everything you got from deep within your soul to project across that field. And as a trumpet player, we made a point to break those horns in every effort that we could, and that's what we did every time we set across the field from anybody. We beat ourselves every time we got a chance to. If somebody thought they was going to come and challenge us, we said, okay, we're going to take it up a notch. So for me, I never hurt anybody else, not in a literal sense, but just I always listened to who was next to me, and I battled those that was next to me, and we all tried to breathe that into the room of who we were. I think there's video out now where Southern
Smiths. God dang it. Everybody, I think it happened to Roach, it didn't happen to Gabriel a few times. Everybody gets to that punch, and then it just be like, all right, we gonna shut you down. That's not cool, man. Hey man, internet program, whatever it is, stop doing this to my people, man. Let me say this. As a non-biased person, first of all, what I will say is it depends on the era. One. So I'm going to speak in my position on our era, and then I'm going to bounce back and forth to some different eras. First of all, I'm going to be honest. I and maybe because I am a Dizzy, I love being a Dizzy. But depending on the song, we left much to be desired in a lot of situations. I'm going to be honest with you. There are some great moments that the Dizzies had. Separate from the band, there was nothing you could tell us. If you put us in front of anybody, I don't care who it was, you wasn't gonna see us. But there is a song on the 2002 DVD. No, sorry, this is back in the day. VHS, season 02 VHS of All Naw. I can't stand that song. That song was trash. But if you listen to it, the section ain't sound that great. It just really didn't. I think it just depends on the song, because there was a mentality in not only us as a section, but I think us sometimes as a band too. And I think it happens now, and I think it happens in a lot of bands. If we don't like the song, we're not gonna play it well. I mean, let's just call it what it is. And you can tell when the Legion and I'm just specifically talking about my time, didn't like a song because it didn't sound good when we played it. So do I think that during my time that we could take on anybody? Absolutely, by far. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there, Gabriel. We wanted to see y'all really bad. during my time.
Yeah.
We really wanted to, and I think it really it pissed us off when, and I think this was your last year was 03, right?
Yes,
So then the year y'all played A&T, what was that? 04?
that was North Carolina
Oh,
A&T. We played them in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That was 2000. That was either 2000. Yeah, that was 2003.
So that was your last year.
That was my last year.
Yeah. So I remember when that happened, and I was like, bro, A&T got to play Southern, bro. Like, now don't get me wrong, A&T gave y'all that work. Now I'm not saying that they overly did y'all. I ain't gonna say that. But A&T was a different A&T that we were used to. I'll put it that way. When I saw that video, I was like, oh my God, what A&T is this? Because we ain't seen these fools before.
Wait a minute. You talking about you talking about the stadium video, or you talking about the Battle of the Bands? Because anybody can sound loud in a stadium that holds 300 people.
I'm talking about the one where y'all in the stands. Now, listen here. See, now you saying that. I was trying to give you love by saying I didn't say that they overdid you. I'm just saying they was giving y'all a little work.
They didn't come close, man. What are you talking about?
Right,
They didn't come close, man.
I saw a different video, but all right, cool. That's fine. That was the point of the conversation. The point.
Yeah, that must have been an AI generated video.
Oh, okay. Back when AI didn't even exist like that. I got you. No problem. Look,
Hey, that's these aliens dropping videos from back in the day or something, because I have no idea what you're talking about. He was at a completely different game.
Brother Moore in the comments going to agree with you because you got a fellow juke in there, so you know he gonna say, "Hey, that didn't happen." But no, man, I we were upset. We were like, bro, A&T get to face Southern Dog as bad as we, and I think it was one year that we had the opportunity to play y'all, and the AD was like, "Nah, we good," and we were nah. It was just a whole nother situation. But the whole point is, during my era, I personally feel like nobody was seeing the Dizzies. Sorry, not Trump Funk, not Screaming Demons, definitely not Brass Council. That just whatever. But that's just how I felt. Now, when we start talking about different eras now, that's when I think it does change. Because I agree with Anton. I was a Trump Funk fan when I was in high school, but I was definitely watching Southern. Like, yeah, these boys is eating. These boys is eating. Whenever the section played Chase, I was like, these niggas killing. You know what I'm saying? Like it was what other song that y'all used to play that I used to love? It's when the trumpets in on a F concert and that y'all just hold it out. I can't remember what song it is. Huh?
Skin on men.
Yes. It's whenever, man, I'm telling you, and I'll just be like, man, these boys killing. Like, so I really believe that era really plays a big part into it. If you look at it now, I really don't think any section is good. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Tell me, and I'm talking about from all aspects. And the reason why I say that, well, let me back up. I'm not gonna say from all aspects. I'm just saying that no section to me now stands out. And they don't stand out to me, one, because it goes back to the conversation that we were having earlier about the fact that you have an overpowering of euphonium, mellophone, tubas playing euphonium parts. Like it's so many different aspects that's overshadowing the trumpet to where I don't even hear sections anymore. I don't hear melodic lines anymore. Most of what I hear in band now is counter melodies and horn shouts, and that's about it. And so it's difficult to be able to say now, well, this section from this band or this trumpet section from this band is really shining because I don't really hear him. I mean, anybody feel differently? Smith.
I don't
A baby,
feel any different.
baby walking around. That's what.
I don't.
Manny turned around. I thought he was like, "I'm gonna stay out of it." No, the baby turned around. Okay, you good. But go ahead, Tom.
I don't feel different. I mean, it's just hard for trumpet sections to compete with. Like, I'm gonna go with Gabriel, what he said, the arrangements, the songs that they have to choose from, the amount of the amount of euphoniums and baritones that people have is ridiculous. And bands aren't that big. Like, I don't understand. Like, I really believe if you have like 25 baritones, you need like 80 trumpets to compete with that. To be solid. I mean, unless you have a whole section full of horses, you know what I'm saying? And everybody don't have that no more, because that goes back again to another question you said earlier, the art of trumpet playing. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't I don't hear any section that stands out. Bands stand out more than the section itself, yes. But I don't really, I mean, trumpet sections today they're not that good. Like I said, I don't want to hear trumpets screaming and attacking and everybody just playing whatever and all that. I don't want to hear it.
Okay. All right. Last question of the night. Somebody did ask this question earlier, and I actually had it on my list, and I really want to get to it before we hang up and go our separate ways. Let's talk really quickly about mouthpieces. I'm going to start off by saying the one mouthpiece that was given to me when I first started screaming was a Shuki 14A4A. And as we all know, that is probably one of the thinnest, shallowest mouthpieces you could probably use. When you sound like you're pissing in the toilet. It's pretty bad. But yeah, Roach. I feel you. I was in high school. I ain't no better. God dang. But as I got older, I learned a little bit more and got better, right? What mouthpiece should trumpet players be using? If you want to be a screamer, what mouthpiece did you use or are currently using, for those of you all who still play? Lemanuel, what you got?
All right, so number one, and folks may not agree, but a standard 3C, if you can't play your lead notes on a standard 3C, then I truly don't believe you ready for a shallow cut mouthpiece. But to qualify, mouthpieces are like shoes. So you play on what fits you best for what accommodates or what genre or whatever you're about to play. I do top 40, I do jazz, second line, and currently I'm playing on the Austin Winds lead core and all of this good stuff. But that's just me. But Chilky, trash. The Yamaha has a version of it as well that I don't necessarily kind of care for, but I had to go shopping around and actually go find a mouthpiece that fit me. But that's all I got on.
Okay, Manny, what you got?
I agree with he said 100%. It just depends on what you want to play for, because I know I play on a
Yep.
a B2S3, and there are things that I can do on my B2S3 that when I go to my Bach Symphony, which I play on my C trumpet, is a totally different, not just approach, but it's a totally different sound. It's a totally different feel, because the style of music that I'm playing on my C trumpet, it's what I prefer for what I'm playing. So it just, to me, it just depends on what you want out of it. But there also is no mouthpiece that makes you do things that you want to do. It's just how comfortable you are with that mouthpiece trying to do the things that you want to do. So what is the most comfortable for what your capability is? If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Roach, what you got? Oh, there you go. Oh, we can't hear you, brother. We can't hear you. I don't know what happened. You may have to, and I see Gabriel got you. You may have to pop out and go back in. Yeah, pop out and log off and then log back in. It should work. Tom, what you got, man?
No, they've all hit on it. No player should be playing on the same just because that's the mouthpiece that everybody say you should play on. My lips are different than everybody's lips. Everybody's lips are different. So what's comfortable for you? If you can scream on a 1C, make it happen. I mean, I can't do it. I played on a 3C. A 3C megatone was my go-to until I learned differently. You know what I'm saying? But I played a lot. I played everything on my 3C though. That's just where I was comfortable. So I just say whatever is comfortable for you, then play on it. Because it's just like this is a way, this is not the way to do it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel. Steph Curry's shot is different than LeBron's. It's different. You know what I'm saying? The result is the same. Well, not always. Just you give him a reference. But that's just my 2 cents on it.
Shout out to the NBA. Gabriel, what's your thoughts, man?
I think everybody has said it. You know, I don't think there's anything else to be said on that. You know, it's absolutely a personal preference. But just like everybody else said, I mean, I couldn't, you know, hit those upper registers like some of the others could on the threes and the so for me, I played majority of what I played on a 5C, and then you know, that was kind of my go-to. And now, you know, now that I do more jazz stuff, I play on a heavyweight modified Maynard Ferguson. But I don't really play much of anything else. So that's really kind of my go-to now for pretty much whatever I'm going to do. So based on preference and what you're playing.
Absolutely. And I think all of y'all hit the nail on the head, man. I will say this. I will agree to, I think Lemanuel said it, if you start out on a 3C, if you can't play certain notes in the 3C, then you shouldn't be screaming. I'll tell y'all a quick story. If anybody has seen the clip of Norfolk State, the first time that we went to Honda, probably one, matter of fact, the best show that's ever been done in HBCU history. But if anybody has seen, all right, it's one of the best. I'm not gonna say the best, but it's definitely one of the best. All right. But if anybody has seen that show, that was the final, the last show that I ever marched for. But on that show, I didn't have my original mouthpiece. I can't remember the mouthpiece that I was using, but I accidentally left it in the band room. True story. I left it in the band room. Tom, you ain't noticed. I left it in the band room at Norfolk, and we went. And I ran into Rick, and Rick was like, "Yo, I have a Bobby shoe. You can use this." And that's what I
do remember that. I do remember that.
I had he gave me his Bobby shoe lead, and I had only played on it for that one rehearsal that we had in Atlanta. And I didn't play any differently than what I played on anything else. But that goes to show that if you can play, you can play. But you still need to have a mouthpiece that works for you. And I said all that to say now, because I don't play as much as I used to, but even when I play, I still have a plethora of different mouthpieces that I use because of the fact that depending on the setting, that's what I use. I have this 1X that was given to me by Tim Zachary, 1X mouthpiece. He gave it to me, And it's just been working for me ever since when I'm playing concert literature, and I'll never change it because it fits my mouth. Pause. It works for me. It works for me, and it gives me the tone and the sound that I need. And then, you know, from here, from time to time, if I'm playing anything that's in the upper register, if I'm playing any lead, I have a mic Vax that I use that was actually given to me by Rick. And when he gave it to me, that's when I was gigging on the road, when I was doing the ride-on stuff. And so when I was doing that, you know, that was my big thing or my big go-to. And then here at TMEA, I actually went and picked up one of these, and I don't know if y'all know or seen this before. This is the Warburton, where you have the adjustable cup. And so now, whenever I do want to pick up or go check out a mouthpiece, all I'll take is just my shank here, and I'll leave the cup at home, and I'll just go try a whole bunch of Warburtons until it fits right for, you know, what feels right for me. But at this point, I ain't even looking for mouthpiece. I just do it just to have fun now. But it really is, and it just depends on you and how the lips and the mouthpiece and the embouchure and the aperture work for you, and if you're getting the sound that you want, so on and so forth. But I will say this, any trumpet players that are out there listening, or anybody who's in here, stop using the pea shooters. If you really want a quality in your program. Now we're not talking about individualized stuff if you're just out playing lead or jazz or whatever. But what I'm saying is, if you want a quality sound, when you're talking about in a section with 20, 14, 15, so on and so forth, and you want a balanced sound, a pea shooter is not going to work, because either one is going to be super sharp or B is going to be super flat. And you're not going to get the quality of sound that you want using a pea shooter. So that's why we, as trumpet players, or as I'd say good or competent trumpet players, we would argue against using a pea shooter. And that's why Lemanuel said the Shookie is trash, because you're never going to get the tone that you want from a Shookie. You'll be able to get up there. Don't. I ain't gonna hold you back. You're gonna get that range, but it's not gonna sound good. And so make great decisions, or your best decisions, that will work for you as the individual player. All right. So yeah, there we go. That's the mouthpiece conversation, man. I want to say, because I don't want to hold you guys up, this has been we gone an hour and 48 minutes. I was trying to keep it under there, man, but sometimes these conversations just get too good, man. And when we talking trumpet, and you know, when we saying that the Dizzy Axe was the best section, I mean, everybody agreed on it. So when we say those kind of but no, when we're just having a good time and having really good conversation, man, the time can go by. So I really do appreciate every single one of you guys coming on, man. What I always like to do when I have guests on, I don't know, Roach, is this you, brother? I don't know. I guess it is Ocean of Soul 2023 championship. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. He ain't say nothing, so I'm just gonna take him out. I don't know, but I really do appreciate you guys coming through, man. I always what I like to do on the show is for you guys to just give them where they can find you at, whatever it is that you're doing at this time. So Lemanuel, take it away, man. What are you doing at this time, man, and where can people find you?
Currently I'm doing a lot of freelance work. I'm back in the Dallas area teaching at Wilmer Hutchins High School. Find me Facebook, Lemanuel Williams, Instagram at BOHTIE5LIM.
All right. I don't know why that just sounded, it didn't feel like you had a period on it, so I didn't know if you were, that was
period.
There we go. It just kind of was like
That's it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, was he done? All right, Manny, what you got going on, man? Where can people find you?
I am a middle school band director in Virginia Beach at Plaza Middle School, the IB program. I also am the trumpet player for a group called Better by Tuesday, who has been a band since 2012, ran by actually a Norfolk State alum, Jeremy Wilson. And You can find me on Facebook, Manny Hernandez. Most of my playing stuff happens on Instagram, Manny Hernandez II for the second. Um, and those are the only two things of social media that I really use. But I do still actively play a lot now. So yeah.
All right. Anton, what you got going on? Where can people find you, bro?
Currently in South Carolina, retired Army. Just recovering right now medically. Had surgery back in March, so I'm just recovering, being a dad and a husband, and supporting my son through baseball, who was gonna be the next something. So just be on the lookout for number 24. All right, but I don't really play as much. I pick up the phone every once in a while when I'm feeling good, hear something good on TV or watching a band tape, or just want to play. But Facebook, Anton Landers, Instagram, on demand 151, and that's about it.
All right, Gabriel, man, what you got going on? How can people find you?
You can find me on all of the social media platforms as Gabriel DA at Gabriel DA, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm still trying to figure that out. Not doing a lot of playing right now. I had a really bad sinus infection back in 2018, which took me off a tour, man, and I couldn't play. And I just um, worked with a doctor to find out regimen of sinus medication to allow me to get back to playing. So I've been thinking about documenting my journey back to being a proficient trumpet player, but I don't know if I want to expose myself uh, to the community of musicians like that. So other than that, man, I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things, and maybe I get music scene.
Man, Gabriel, man, I'm gonna say this. First of all, I didn't know that. Did they say you had the early version of COVID? I'm just curious when you said that.
No, man. It was really bad sinuses. I was in California at the time, and so I was flying back and forth between Dallas and Texas. I mean, Dallas and Los Angeles, and I don't know, just in maybe the amount of air travel, sinus infection just kicked in, man, and it caused a lot of swellage in my nasal cavity, and it put me out of. I think about a total of about 3 solid years, and so I just now been able to kind of figure out a daily regimen to keep me from being overly congested, where I can breathe and be able to articulate trumpet, and so that's just one of those things that kind of hit me, and I'm trying to deal with it.
Well, I'm gonna say this. As my double frat and as I said earlier, somebody that when I was watching, when I was an undergrad, and this is before I was Psi and before I was Alpha, man, document, do your thing. I know there's a point of, and I don't know, I'm not going to speak for you, but what I will say, I know that getting out there, putting yourself out there in a space where it can be embarrassing, in a world where we've created a world of perfection, it's okay for people to see the imperfection and work towards the perfection. You may get out there and sound like Bleak Gilliam for a while after he got beat up and went back to the club, but it's cool because you will traverse that and you will move forward, man. So I'm gonna support you on that, and I really want to see that come to fruition. See, that's how we some music people and trumpet players, because you knew the reference. If y'all don't know the reference, Mo Better Blues, man. If you ain't watched Mo Better Blues, that is classic. Go watch it. But yeah, man. But yeah, I definitely will support you in that, man. And when you start doing it, we'll definitely do
Absolutely.
our best to promote it. And I'm pretty sure that all these brothers on here and everybody watching will support it too, man. So I'm gonna say go for it. Don't hold yourself back, man. Strive for the highest. So you already know. There it is. Roach, first of all, you came in with you left out and you came in with a different name. I didn't even know who you was. I was like, man, somebody playing on the joint. But obviously it was you, man. But what you got going on, man? How can people find you?
Yeah, man.
Smiths. Your audio is messed up yet again. See, this is what you get. If you ain't come back on with this name, Ocean of Soul 2023 champion. See, the Ocean that messed you up. See, now TV days. What about the ocean? It ain't deep enough. See, there we go. But no, I would say go out and come back in, but then we about to shut down. So it would type in what you was gonna say, and then I'll just read it back. How about that? We can do it that way. Because I do want you to, get your stuff on and not get your stuff on. I want you to be able to say what it is that you want to say, man. So just type it in and I'll go ahead and read it back. But as he's doing that, man, once again, I do appreciate all you brothers for coming up, man, just providing the information that you all have provided. Again, for some type of way, every single one of you have traversed my life in some type of way. Anton and Manny, you guys, we marched together. Man, I know you personally. We went through the trenches together. And Gabriel, I told you I was watching you as a young boy. And so, and I ain't that young, man. I'm just saying, I was watching on TV and stuff. And then Roach, man, you told me that you came up, in my section at the Ridge and you knew about me and I was years gone. So at some point, man, you guys have all touched my life in some type of way. So I appreciate you guys 100% for being able to come on and have this conversation. Again, we're going to play this on playback. It's going to be on playback, man. When I put this thing up on Instagram and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to tag you to it. I still ain't figured out TikTok yet. We got a TikTok, but I think we only got like 5 videos on there because I just don't understand it. It don't make no sense to me. So I'm in the same boat that you are. I just don't get it. Because in my brain, I'm like, if I got Instagram, why I need TikTok? But I mean, apparently TikTok is the thing to do, and Twitter, but now Twitter is X. I just don't know anymore, man. But Roach of National Band League LLC, a professional marching band league, 8 bands, 8 cities. And you can check them out at natlbandlg.com. Again, that is natlbandlg.com. I'm going to put that right there in the chat so that everybody can see it, because everybody can pop in and they can check it out. Other than that, man, this has been super dope. DJ Arnold will be on next week's show. DJ Arnold is a legend in this game. He has had a complete history of HBCU videography and just going to so many different areas, and he will be on here next week. Once again, brothers, I appreciate you guys for coming in. This has been a super dope show. Hey, man, stop hanging over. Teach your trumpets how to do something besides squeaking notes. I ain't got nothing else, man. This has been super dope, man. We will see you all on next week.